The Foundry, old, gray, and metal to the core.
Welcome to the brutally delicious, old, gray, and metal to the core, The Foundry. I'm Bruce.
And I am Nick.
And we appreciate you taking the time to stop by and check this out. I know this is our sixth or seventh episode, and we're slowly building, and people are giving us some constructive feedback, so I'm really digging it.
Yeah, it seems like people are starting to watch and also, more importantly, communicate with us, send messages, make comments, things like that. So, of course, if you are enjoying these album reviews, please like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, and then most importantly, comment and share.
Yes.
Share on all your social media so that other people that you think would enjoy this get a chance to check it out.
And I would say, even if you've got some stuff that you think we should cover here, because I usually get a lot of things on my radar, but there's no way to get it all. So if you got something that's sliding under the radar, send us another one of those suggestions and we'll check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially in the rock genre. There's just tons of metal coming out right now, which is fantastic. But not listening to all the different rock genres on a regular basis, that would really help us for the next reviews.
I agree. So speaking of new metal, I'm going to jump right in. Holy crap, man. I so love the new Vio-lence record, Let the World Burn. I'm an old thrash head, and this band has got everybody in it. It's got Phil Demmel from Machine Head, Bobby Gustafson, I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm an old Overkill fan, and I remember seeing them back in the early 80s. It's great to have the two of them in the band. Sean is great back on vocals. This is a total thrash. Actually, there's a theme going on, right? Because I seem to always pick this thrash stuff. We had Exodus not too long ago. This whole San Francisco thrash thing, I guess, is somewhat in my veins, and this record just kills.
Yeah, I totally agree. I wrote down that, is this the best album they've ever released? I'm not saying it is. I enjoy thrash, like we talked about in a recent episode. I grew up as far as in my early metal years, listening to thrash. Had the license plate that said thrash on it.
Right.
So it was pretty important to me, but Vio-lence wasn't really a mainstay for me back in the day. So I did go back and listen to a few of the older albums after I gave this a run. And it's just so strong and so tight and so powerful. And it just feels like they have a command of their instruments. They know exactly what they want to do and how to accomplish it. And the vocals are astonishing.
So you mentioned his vocals. Sean's vocals, what's his last name? Sean Killian. His vocals are sort of different than a lot of other thrash guys. I kind of have this maybe sort of Tom Araya influence going on. I don't know if that's too far out, but that's what I was thinking when I was listening to it.
I felt like it was, when I was listening to it, I felt like it was a combination of Slayer and Anthrax.
Yeah, okay, that's perfect.
And then I went back and listened to some of the older stuff, and he's not that far off of what he's always done.
Right.
It's just that he has a super command of his voice right now.
Yes.
Which is just amazing for as many years as it's been.
I happened to see these guys just before the pandemic. I was on 70,000 Tons of Metal, and one of the last shows I saw was 3:00 in the morning in this little ballroom, and it was them, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is so great. And then they kind of drifted off the radar. I didn't hear from them until maybe 6 months ago, and then we get this, and Let the World Burn is amazing. I wish it was more than a 5-song EP, but
yeah, it was too short.
Yeah, but what they have, I think, is super. I hate to use these phrases, but it's neck snapping, it's thrash, it's all in.
It is. It's 100% from the very first note and the very first beat, and it doesn't stop. And when you get to the end of it, like on my on my app I was listening to it on, it would then just automatically go to a previous album. And it would always shock me. It's like, I'm at the end of the album already.
Yeah.
I have to start it over again because I was just ready for some more. I didn't want it to end. Yeah, really, really astonishing release.
Let me also mention it was mixed and mastered by Tu Madsen, which I don't know if you're familiar. He's one of the resident geniuses in the metal genre, especially the extreme metal genre. We've had him on the show before, and he's like the guy when it comes to doing this stuff. And you can tell it's one of his mixes. It's just fabulous all around.
I think that it raises them up to a level that they haven't ever been before.
I would agree.
Up higher up in the list of bands that you have to consider when you're thinking about thrash metal.
I 100% agree. They're right up there. And it's that whole San Francisco scene, which is really cool.
Yeah.
I've never been there and never been a part of it, but I kind of, I guess, identify it. Anyway, sorry, we're sliding. But so out of the 5 songs, I know you like to try and guess what I'm going to pick here. I've got 2 highlighted that are just blowing me away. Can you guess?
Man, I would say, especially since you mentioned his vocals, I would say Screaming Always. And I don't know. Yeah, my pick, I'll just say it, is Let the World Burn. I mean, how can that not be one of them? So, but I would say Screaming Always might be on your list.
Yep, it is. It was Screaming Always and Let the World Burn. Both of those are highlighted. I absolutely love every song on here. And it's only 5.
It was tough to choose.
Yeah.
It really was. But Let the World Burn had some dynamics in it that really set it apart from the other songs, I think.
And that was the video too, I think, and it was really good. That was the video I came across on YouTube. Yeah.
Great video. Yep.
So anyway, if you're a thrash head, or even if you're not, you're new to this is a great way to jump in. I think this is a fabulous album all around.
Yeah, I don't think that you can go wrong with this one. And it is, like you said, going to, especially if you're new to thrash, maybe you've heard some inklings of it before, or you just thought of it as being old bands or whatever. This has absolutely top-notch production and performance, and you are going to get a great schooling in what thrash is and what it's meant to be and exactly what's supposed.
Yeah, from some great veterans. I mean, there's some players on here that are amazing. So,
yep.
All right, so let's segue right into you then. What do you got?
Well, I went a completely different route.
You usually do.
This time. So I selected the Scorpions,
Yes.
Rock Believer. I was thinking on the way over here to my studio, I was just thinking about the band as a whole. And do you realize that this band was already 4 years old when I was born?
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's just incredible.
Yep.
And this is a huge album. I think it's 17 tracks. Is that correct?
Yeah, it looks like I've got 16 on it, so enough to be a double album no matter what. Yeah.
Yeah, I think on the one that I had, there is a
bonus track.
A bonus track of When Tomorrow Comes, an extra one. So
gotcha.
But yeah, a long album, and that may, be because of not being able to be out and touring and releasing stuff the last few years, that they decided to put this many songs on the album. But there aren't really any sleepers on it. There are definitely ones that are better than others, but that list is actually pretty long. So the songs are really catchy, and Klaus is still writing quality vocal lines.
Holy cow!
His voice isn't as strong as it used to be, but I mean that's to be expected. I don't know how old he is, but he's
70. I think he's 72. I saw.
Yeah, that's just incredible. He just doesn't. His lungs aren't able to push out
right
like he used to, but you can still recognize his voice immediately. There is no lack in that. There's no lack in how pleasant it is to listen to him sing. and he does not write boring vocal lines at all.
Oh, so I'm going to jump in. The guitar tones, I've always been a fan. I think it's Matthias Jab, so I'm probably butchering that, but same guitar tone from the early days. I mean, you could not even hear
Rudolph is there too.
Yeah, you could not even hear the vocals and hear that guitar tone, and right away it's Scorpions. And some of these solos are blistering. I mean, everything music-wise, taking Klaus out of the mix, is so powerful and so, I guess, Scorpions. I mean, there's nothing else I can say except it sounds like a great Scorpions record.
It is. And can you believe they're still laying down these solos?
I know.
How many songs have they written? How many albums have they put out? How long have they been doing this? And yet they can still lay down a solo that's going through my head later on in the day. It's just incredible. So
over the years, they've always put out solid stuff, but sometimes I've liked more some than others. I absolutely loved Blackout. That was and Love at First Sting. Those were like totally in my wheelhouse and in my catalog for a long time. And I think the new one here, Rock Believer, kind of ranks up there. It's really, really good. It's really catchy.
Yeah, I think it's a little more, rockin', I guess, if you want to say that, than some of the stuff that came right after those albums.
Yes, because they kind of got a little bit
mellowed out a little bit.
Yes,
and there are, honestly, you had mentioned in I don't know if it was just us talking or in one of the episodes that you really didn't like ballads all that much.
Right.
You're not a ballads guy. For Scorpions, yes, I'd Rock You Like a Hurricane, whatever. But the ballads were the ones that I actually really attached to. They just had a different way of doing them. They weren't traditional.
And that one was like the soundtrack of the like late 80s, early 90s, right? When the wall fell. I can't think of the name of it, but that song got so much play.
The Winds of Change.
Yes, that's it. Right.
Yeah. And there's a few of those songs on this album. Some of those classic Scorpions ballads. Same, The Shining of Your Soul is kind of like that, a little heavier than Winds of Change.
That's on my list to talk about here because that's a little bit different than a lot of stuff. I mean, I was catching some ska reggae vibes off of that. Maybe is that too far out?
I guess that is a good way of putting it. It felt tropical.
Yeah. Okay.
Sure.
I could go.
It didn't. Yeah. I mean, which reggae vibes.
Right.
Yeah, it definitely had that feel to it. But at the same time, it sounded like Scorpions. So.
It did, but I think it also comes at a good point in the record, too, because it gives you a little bit of a break from the rockers. It changes things up a little. And then we go right back into what's the next one after that? Seventh Son, which is another good one.
Yes. Seventh Son is a song that I feel like is different than a lot of Scorpions fare. Mm-hmm. It's a little... I don't know if it's actually longer in time, but it feels like it's a longer song. Mm-hmm. And it just takes its time telling you the story, Yep. And I really enjoyed that one too.
Cool. So what do you got for favorites on this one?
My picks are Rock Believer. That's just a good one that I think would be fantastic live. Mm-hmm. The Shining of Your Soul is awesome. Seventh Son is awesome. But my top pick is When You Know Where You Come From. That one just stuck in my head, and I sang that for weeks after the first time I heard it.
So none of those were on my list.
Really?
Oh no, I love Roots in My Boots.
Yeah.
I think it's a great driving metal tune, but the solo, we were talking about solos, that solo is totally ripping. And then the very next one, Knock 'Em Dead, another killer intro. It's heavy. I think it's classic.
It's probably the heaviest one on the album.
I think it's classic Scorpions, and the solo again just blows my mind. That guy can rip. I think he's super underrated. When you start thinking of guitar players and people who get a lot of the attention, I don't know that he's mentioned a lot, but he's really, really good.
He is.
And then the last one I liked, Hot and Cold.
Oh, okay. I guess I wouldn't have guessed that one.
So, yeah.
So is that your top pick?
Yeah, so my top pick, I think, would probably be Knock 'em Dead. I really like that one.
Okay. Yeah.
But those three were the ones I highlighted as probably my favorites on the record. So now...
Well, the last one is something that you selected. And did you say you've been listening to them for a couple of years now?
No, not at all. I just
hadn't heard them.
No, I just stumbled across them through a publicist friend of mine. And
okay.
Let me just go ahead and mention it's Eliza and the Delusionals, and the record's called Now and Then. It comes out May 20th. I guess the best way I can describe it, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, but catchy, hooky, and I don't know, like alt pop sort of thing. Does that work?
Yeah, I was thinking alt pop when I was listening to it. I did want to get a little bit more information about them, and kind of see what members they had in the band and that sort of thing. And they have been described as indie, which
I don't get. Maybe I guess.
Yeah, I guess but the reason I kind of was feeling the same way as you is there definitely is this late 80s, mid 90s alt rock vibe to it.
This is going to sound really weird. Sometimes listening to it, I thought I was listening to maybe almost a Taylor Swift vocal. Does that sound too far out?
No, I also Avril Lavigne, maybe. I don't know, something like that. Which does speak to the entirety of their sound. It has the vibe of 90s, but it doesn't. It sounds modern.
I agree.
New.
The production's good. That's in my notes here. Really good production. I think they're from Australia, right?
Yes.
And I mean, I like it.
Eliza is another one that has a really powerful voice. And I think that probably the songs are built around that as well. Although there's consistency with the vocal lines and with the delivery, but the sounds of the songs vary. So the vocals, she has a sound. She's not one-dimensional by any means.
Oh, no.
But she does do a lot of the same vocal tricks or whatever that she has honed as her own, and she does them in every song, or that's kind of the feel of the choruses or the verses or whatever. But when you combine it with the music, because the music changes, the songs definitely have different sounds as you move through the album.
I like it. I like it a lot, actually. I found myself listening to it a few times prepping for this, and it's catchy. It gets right into your brain. So for me, this style of music or this genre is totally not my genre, right?
at all. I cannot. I can't wrap my head around it, I guess. And I think part of that is that I'm less ambient sort of thing. Right. I'm more musically inclined, and this is really more about the feeling.
Yeah, absolutely.
The atmosphere. It's just like atmospheric black metal. I don't really listen to that very much because it's the same sort of thing. It's creating an atmosphere that just you have to sit in and enjoy. And I don't really enjoy that too much.
And that's fair enough. And that's why we kind of do this show, right? This last one, for those who are just made it this far, we just pick it without the other one knowing what's coming and kind of throw it out there. And this is what you get. And I'm sure there's going to be something I don't like along or don't really enjoy that much along down the road. So it is what it is. But as far as my favorites on the record, I really like Nothing Yet. And then the very next one, Lonely. Those were my two favorites. Yeah.
And both of those are near the beginning, aren't they?
Yeah, they're like 4 and 5, I think.
Yeah. And the one just before Nothing Yet, You, is my top pick. I felt like You was the song you can listen to that gets everything that they do. And,
yeah, I get that.
And it can be like the representation of who they are. And they do more than that, because that's actually a pretty upbeat, strong song where they can do things that are really, really light as well.
Mhm.
That the title track Now and Then starts out super light, probably the lightest song on the album, but by the time you get to the end of it, it's just rocking out.
Right. And it's the last song on the record too, I believe, right?
Yeah, and it's the title track. So,
Right.
So it's a different song than you get with the rest of them. But for me, because it was a little more accessible, for me, I think You was my favorite song on the album. If you like indie alt pop music, you'll enjoy this. Just because I don't like it doesn't mean it's bad. It's a very solid album. She has a great voice. She tells some interesting stories in the songs.
So I guess if you've made it this far, we've got quite a bunch of or a variety of stuff to pick from Bay Area thrash to classic, rock and roll metal to this indie alt pop. So there's something here for everyone. I want to thank you for making it this far if you did. And please, again, like Nyk said, go ahead and smash that subscribe button, send us your recommendations, tell us we suck, do whatever you want to do. Just by all means, give us some feedback.
Yeah, we want feedback on these albums, especially the ones that we're not as familiar with, because ultimately this is a way for us to expand our horizons and learn new things. And it's going to help us appreciate more about the music that we enjoy, and maybe even discover bands and albums that we didn't know we would enjoy. So learning more about it is the entire purpose of this, and hopefully giving you guys some more information on maybe albums or bands that you have not listened to before.
Awesome. Thanks for listening.
All right. See you next time.
Hello out there. Yes, hello out there, everyone. I'm Hal Schwartz.
And I'm Flynn McLean. Together we host None But the Brave, a podcast dedicated to the music and career of Bruce Springsteen.
Bruce and E Street Band are on tour right now for the first time in 6 years, and we're taking a detailed look at what's happening on stage in our bi-weekly episodes.
We've also been recently joined by some very exciting guests, including rock journalist Warren Zanes and Stephen Hayden, Backstreet's Magazine founder Charles Cross, and Barstool's Kirk Minahan.
If you're a diehard Springsteen fan, this is the show for you.
So please subscribe to None But the Brave on your favorite podcasting platform, and we hope to see you further on up the road.
Thank you so much. We'll be seeing you.